Sins, commandments alike, you guys already know the drill. It's Griever. I'm going to review this episode, but my God. My God, the one saving grace of this episode is that it's self-aware enough, right? It's literally self-aware. It doesn't intend to be self-aware, but I'm seeing through the cracks. I'm seeing through the dialogue, and I'm seeing some self-awareness of the rest of this damn story. Because if any of you think this makes any goddamn sense whatsoever, you're out of your goddamn mind. Because, alright, so episode 21, you know what the problem is? Is that I'm going to shit all over this episode, but the problem is it's not the anime's fault. It's Nakaba's fault. It's the manga's fault, but of course they are following the manga instead of, this is a perfect example. Everybody always says, oh, well, we want OVAs. We want OVAs. So see, some of you might be too young to understand the difference between anime and OVAs. See, manga and anime used to be different. Used to take the same idea. That's why there's a 2003 Full Metal Alchemist anime that is vastly different from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Why? Because Brotherhood follows the manga. But back in 2003, mangas were taking their initial few arcs and a couple episodes, and then they ran with it. They did the same thing with Inuyasha. They did the same thing with Full Metal Alchemist. They did the same thing with this, that, and the other thing. They used to do this. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But for the most part, in this particular instance, this was an opportunity for the anime department to actually say, hey, anything we come up with will be better than the worst ending in all of manga history. And yes, Attack on Titan ended. But honestly, Eren was a crappy character well before that, so I didn't really care. But the point is that this damn episode, okay, so first off, as I said, very self-aware, but already, right off the bat, this episode pissed me off because there was an entire scene with Gil, Griever, and Hauser about the fact that, the Seven Deadly Sins won, the Holy War's over, everybody was cheering. But Gil walked away, and Hauser and Griever notice and have to stop him, and we see him crying. Now, it's not a very manly cry, but I think they could have done it some justice here in the anime had they done it properly. But the fact is that, yeah, Seven Deadly Sins 1, your hero is coming home. Why aren't you going there? And he goes, because I don't know what to say to them. We think of them as heroes. Our problems are solved. Our loved ones are all here. Escanor died. That's an impact. I don't know what to do to them. They might blow up at us if we start patting them on the back and saying, yay, victory. Because to them, is this a true victory? So there's a whole level. There was a level of understanding in this chapter in the manga that is completely absent here from the episode. And we have a totally irrelevant scene as a result because Vivian comes back, talks about the age of light and darkness and the chaos and blah, 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 blah. But all of that is that was to build hype in the manga. As far as an anime episode goes, it's completely irrelevant for a storytelling and plot progressive storyline. So this scene, the first 5 minutes of the episode was irrelevant anyways, and they cut out the most important part. The most human aspect of it is, I don't know what I would say to them. What am I supposed to say? To us, they're heroes and blah, blah, blah. There was so much there to unpack, and that could have been extended. That could have been brought upon, because remember, Escanor in non-sunshine mode saved their ass. The last time they saw him, he was dying looking like young Link with a Kokiri sword, and then knowing that he was going off to sacrifice his life for his friends. There was a whole thing with them. A whole connection that we saw here in the anime and now is lost because they decided to do this Vivian crap. Oh yeah, let's do that scene by scene because that's totally relevant, but let's miss out on the most relevant part of the episode. So very pissed off right from the get-go when I started this, knowing I was going to hate every episode after this, but then it just made my blood boil, at the beginning, and we hadn't even gotten to the parts that make it terrible yet. So then, after that, of course, Merlin with the scar thing and stuff, and once again confirmed that Elizabeth could potentially heal the scars, but She doesn't want to. And also, the scars look awful here. They looked really terrible. And that was the point. The point was she was supposed to end up looking ugly. She was supposed to have an entire burned, lower chin sort of idea and mouth area, right? That was the idea, is that she's no longer this striking beauty. She took the scars on purposely so that he could be remembered. They say the pretty lines here in the anime, but it doesn't come through when it just looked like she got a bad tan. She put aviators on and now she's got raccoon face. That's all it looked like, and I'm very disappointed that not a single shot in the last episode or this episode shows any type of detail to the burn scars. That's really disappointing. That pisses me off too. Then we go on the whole, we already figured out all our goals. Merlin, what's yours? Ha ha ha, really bad plot starting device. Then she goes and revives Arthur with this whole lake thing, transports him to the lake. Mama Hawk is there for some reason. It's the whole Mother of Chaos thing, but spoiler alert, that's not really a thing, as we find out in this episode. And so everybody who thought that Hawk Mama was the queen or the Mother of Chaos, guess what? Apparently that was just a thing the ancients came up with, because Chaos is this ultimate entity that's far different, not really a god, but sort of basically a god, but not a god. And that's what I love. The age of gods have ended. No, they fucking haven't, because a god created the sacred tree, demon king, and supreme deity. They created all the crap. Then Chaos went on to create giants and humans. The demon king and supreme deity, they sealed away Chaos. Fan-dandy, fine-tastic. But the problem is that they're calling this, you want to say the ages of light and darkness are over, let's bring on chaos, fine-dandy. But stop saying that it's the end of the age of the gods, because literally you're going to revive the creator god. That's basically sitting down and looking at the 12 Olympians. That's looking at Artemis, Hermes, Ares, Athena, all of them, right? Dionysus, all of them, and then going, okay, their reign is over. I'm going to bring back Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. How does that make any fucking sense? Calling it the age of the gods, fine, demon king, supreme deity, they're gods. What the fuck is chaos then, if not a god? Chaos is a goddamn god. I'm sorry, they're trying to make it seem all mysterious and 4D chess, but it's not. Chaos is literally just a creator god, an entity without form and mass, and etc., etc. That's all chaos is. The descriptions just annoy the hell out of me, because I've read the whole manga and stuff. And then, so we have this damn lake try to explain away everything. And as I said, once again, the hilarious thing is that Meliodas is calling out Merlin on this bullshit right away. Arthur gets revived, yada, yada, yada. And it's okay, you're the king of chaos now. It's wait, what the hell is that? And it's okay, what the hell is this? And the anime tries a little better than the manga to give us some form of texture, some form of explanation as to how and why. But at the end of the day, it's still crap, because it never made sense to begin with. Nakaba wrote a shitty endgame, okay? Wrote a really bad ending to the story, and it's not the anime's fault, it's not the anime department's fault, and tried to fix his goddamn mess, because this story is just went down the tubes boom, literally, falling off the cliff, Wile E. Coyote running across the cliff, and then ting 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 ting, and holding up the sign, and boom. That's what happened after Escanor's death. And the other, oh man, there are so many problems. There are so many problems. And I can't even get into all of them, because we haven't actually reached the end of this season. That's the crazy thing. There's more. You think that this is all it is? There's more to this story than this episode. This isn't just the worst of it. This is the start of the worst, but it's not all of it. That's the crazy thing. We get this entire description about about Merlin's backstory. That's what we get. We get the Merlin guide, and we get the Merlin backstory. And at the end of the day, I didn't look up what it's called, but let's just say what it is. Merlin was a girl with daddy issues. 3,000 years worth of goddamn daddy issues. Her father didn't hug her. So she became a hooker. He didn't hug those hooker shoes right out of her. So then she literally tried to, the moment one man, the first person she ever met that actually was half nice to her, in this case, Meliodas, and she went 0 to 100. Like, I'm totally in love with this guy because he let me hold his hand. First off, so many problems. And people have tried to argue this. People have tried to argue, okay, well, that like the trauma and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, no. Because we've had 3,000 years to deal with this. She put this plan in motion for 3,000 years. And she has literally given up. Yeah, people make mistakes, sure. But the idea is, okay, so you make a few bad decisions. Like, let's talk about a drug user, for example. Okay, let's use the same premise. Let's say a mom who wasn't around and a daddy who didn't love a little girl, okay? Fine, dandy. She gets in a bad way. She gets into drugs. Maybe she gets out of it. Maybe she doesn't. But I guarantee you right now, the one who gets into the prostitution and the drugs and the seedy crowd, she either dies in that crowd and never crawls out of it, or she breaks away from that toxicity and she makes something of herself. And I would argue that Merlin is the latter. She doesn't exactly look like a crazy old Baba Yaga witch at this point who everybody is afraid of. No, she's a successful scientist, magician, and well-respected for the last years. So I would argue that the latter half of somebody with daddy issues would get over it, not necessarily get over it, but do the acceptance, do the understanding, do the grief counseling, do the trauma, all that stuff, put it behind them and move forward, like every Disney movie tries to explain to every kid above the age of 2. And guess what? Disney wasn't wrong. You have crap happen to your life. You have dead parents. You have a bad relationship with X, Y, Z. But eventually you overcome it, or you succumb. Like Disney paints, of course, the happy ending, but then there's the reality side that some people succumb to it. Merlin is not succumbing to shit. She has literally been a success this entire time. So, I don't see the third option here. She literally, daddy issues, I'm going to literally destroy the world. And I don't want to get too far into spoiler territory because there are more episodes to go. But pretty much here, she has revived, and her whole purpose has been to get to Arthur. I don't know why specifically Arthur. I don't even know if that's ever actually explained. Like, why Arthur out of all humans? It could have literally been Gilthunder, by the sounds of it. Like, there was no reason for Arthur. The lake apparently said that, but the lake also, who was... this, I don't believe, was ever stated in the manga that the lake chose Arthur and then Merlin listened to the lake. I don't believe that was ever stated in the manga. So this is the anime trying to grasp its straws a little bit, trying to catch that flying money, and it's just not really working because I just don't buy it. And so she revives Arthur. Arthur wakes up. Now he's the king of chaos. He's got all of this. He's got the Infinity Gauntlet now. He's got the Reality Stone, and nobody knows what to do. And of course, Meliodas has given up his god powers of being the Demon King. He's given up his Demon King abilities, which is a great thing, but not right now because now we got to deal with Arthur. But Arthur's not a bad guy. Arthur's okay. But as Meliodas points out, why the hell, Merlin, would you awaken this power? This is a bad idea. Why would you do this? Waking up Arthur? Fine dandy. Putting a creator god inside of him, not the best idea you've ever had. What the hell? And it's all because she had daddy issues, fell in love with Meliodas because he held her hand one time as a child, and then completely got crushed from the idea that Meliodas was not going to look at her. She changed her appearance, blah, 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 tried to please him. And then Meliodas shows up with Elizabeth, and she's like, she feels all the negativity based on that. But Elizabeth is such a great person, such a big sister, giving her so much love and affection, which should have fixed the problem. Should have fixed the problem is what I'm trying to say. Elizabeth was literally like, she was like, oh, I don't like her because I want Meliodas all for myself. That's the initial thing. And that's fine, dandy. The problem is Elizabeth is so good. Is so nice. Is the big sister giving her just as much love and affection as Meliodas, the only two people in the world to ever give her love and affection, so she can't bring herself to hate him or resent him, nor hate her or resent her. And that should have been the stage towards, and we see her cry. We see her cry about it. The idea is that that's the part where she goes through the 5 stages of grief. The end of the grief stages is acceptance. And for 3,000 years, you're trying to convince me that she never accepted shit. And I just don't buy it. This is a poorly written daddy issues character that's just written wrong. Even characters with daddy issues could have a resolution. This is not a resolution. She's still stuck at stage 1. How is that possible? How's it possible for her to get from stage 1 and stay at stage 1 for 3,000 years? That's literally stupid. That makes no sense. As Meliodas said, this stupidity is your wish? Yeah, because it is stupid. It makes no sense. She's been stuck. When she froze her own time, I guess you could argue that she froze her brain. Like she froze her development or her puberty or whatever. But that's such a bad reasoning. This is so bad. And now we're going to continue on to the next episode, but I'm done ranting. This is going to be like a 20-minute review. It's going to be a 20-minute video of all just me ranting about this stuff. And I said to myself, there's a reason this is coming out late Thursday, guys. The episode was out Wednesday. I watched the episode twice. And Wednesday, I was too fucking mad to make a coherent, properly documented review. And even now, I'm not sure if I'm going to have to re-record this one or not, because I am ranting about the bullshittery that Nakaba did, and I defended Merlin's character right up until this episode, right up until this chapter. She had hacks, she had OP-ness, she was broken, and she had a lot of plot armor, but I defended her as a character. Guess what? There's going to be a problem. It's going to come up next episode, knowing that we've already gone through the Guidance of Merlin. We're going to see exactly one of the biggest flaws with this storyline, which, by the way, has plot holes carpet bombed all through it at this point. This episode shows us plenty of that, but just you guys wait till next episode when we carpet bomb it even more. And we are going to argue something that is the fundamental flaw with this out of everything that has happened. Next episode is going to show us the biggest flaw with all of this, and it's going to be absolutely disgusting and make you hate Merlin just as much as I do. And if you guys want my full thoughts on Merlin, and you have finished the manga, or you know what the ending of the story and blah blah blah, feel free to check out my manga reviews, as well as I did a podcast with Keichin Prime, Naya D. Hemmings, Sundown Rider, who were part of the Boar's Hat podcast group back when the manga was still running. That video is still up on my channel. If you go and check that out, basically it's a very long podcast where we talk about a multiple of things, but we talk about the ending, and there's sufficient Merlin rants from me especially, but other members of the podcast. So feel free to check that out. If I don't end it here now, I'm going to rant for another 15 minutes. So thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry it is late, but I still think I might have to re-record this one. So I'm so irritated. I thought I could do this. It's been years, literal years, and I thought I got over it, but I haven't. This is so bad. Worst ending in manga I have ever seen, and I don't even like Naruto. And I think that ending's better. Kaguya is a better ending than this. Toriko has a better ending. Bleach has a better ending. Every manga I have ever read has a better ending. Fairy Tail has a better ending. That's all I'm going to say. Like, comment, subscribe. We're getting to 600. We need 25 more subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 25 more subscribers for 600 subscribers on this channel. Drink responsibly as always. We will see you guys here again for episode 22 of Dragon's Judgment, 7 Deadly Sins, Nanatsu no Taizai. And I'm probably going to be just as angry then as I am right now. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.